Good morning, ladies. Hi, Avanelle and Donna. And Donna number 2 and Brina. Happy Valentine's Day to you too. Thank you. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Everybody having a good time? It's about time, right? I'm just a day late. Actually, only a day late. Considering it's exactly 9:30, I think, which is pretty good for me. How's everyone doing? Hi, Denise. Hi, Christina. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. So while we're waiting for everybody to just grab in or run in, I'm going to just tell you a couple things in case you missed it. Paper Pumpkin, next month is their 6-year anniversary. Don't mind my paper that's printed a little wackadoo. I printed it from my phone. Excuse me. So next month they have a super pretty kit. It's going to have like little polka dots and whatnot on it. But they're also including, since it's their 6-year anniversary, an extra stamp set. But it's going to be a big stamp set. So I just want to show you. I think it's in here. This is my Valentine's paper pumpkin kit, which I did for the Rainbow Stamper School. So you can see it's like a little mini stamp set that comes with it. So you'll get the mini stamp set that comes with the paper pumpkin, but then they're also going to give you, I believe it's a full-size stamp set additionally. So it won't be a little one, it'll be a big one, and it's supposed to be something that you can use for many occasions. And it is cards. I know a lot of times people don't like the paper pumpkins if they're projects. They're helpful maybe if you have kids or someone that you want to share it with. So anyway, next month's paper pumpkin, you can sign up today, but the last day to sign up is the 10th. So I will, I did post a link on Facebook, so that is already on there somewhere, and you can just click the link. It'll take you right there to sign up. But I believe if you get the 3-pack of paper pumpkin, so if you buy a 3-month subscription, I believe you earn a free celebration item. So that's good. So we do have celebrations still going on for those of you who don't know or maybe you're new. However, where's my Sharpie? I can never find my Sharpie when I need it. It's like it hides from me. All right, so I'll just use this instead. So the ribbon, right now the ribbon is gone. However, the ribbon is going to come back. They just weren't sure if it would be in time to fulfill the current order, so it's currently not orderable. So this could come back like towards the very end. They just weren't sure when the shipping would come in. And also, where is it? The foil is still orderable, but it's kind of on the low side. So if that's something you want, make sure you order it sooner than later. And this card kit, this is definitely done. So the card kit is gone as well, but you can also earn the Tea Time Framelits, which coordinates with the stamp set. That's $100, and as is the Lily. And also, in case you missed it, there are going to be some Thinlits that are going to coordinate. I don't have them, so I can't actually share them with you, but there is one that coordinates with this that you can purchase, the cupcake. There's one that coordinates with the frogs. There is one for the lilies, and I believe there's one more. I think I might have missed it. And then also, starting on Friday, there's going to be 3 new items to choose, which is an embossing folder. And then there also is, did I have a copy of that? Let me see. No, I don't have it. There's another one that I'm missing. It's a stamp set. It's really, really cool. You can make medallions and whatnot with it. And then there's also a $100 bundle, which is this stamp set. That's the other one. So you can purchase a framelit set that goes with this stamp set, which is really nice. And then this is a paper. So it's paper and the stamp set that goes together. So that's really cool. This is $100. The embossing folder is $50. And let me see if I have it here, because I would love to share a photo with it. And I didn't get my paper pumpkin yet, which I'm a little bit bummed about, because I was really hoping to share that because it looks like it's super cool. Okay, so the other one is, here we go, it's this other stamp set. So there's lots of like medallion stuff you can make with it. You can see this has this, you are pretty much the best ever. So it's got a lot of really cute stuff in it. So that is the news for this week. I know there's probably a lot of people who are still snowed in. And I'm sorry for you. We are supposed to get a little bit of snow this weekend, but actually we're going away. We're going to Western Maryland this weekend. So hopefully we'll have some snow, I think, on Saturday. And also, this has just been a mixed emotion week. On Tuesday, which was the 12th, that was the anniversary of when my mom passed away. And unfortunately, my dear friend's father passed away the same day, very unexpectedly. So we've had a rough week, and then we didn't have school, and then we had late school. So that's why I wasn't on yesterday. It would have been during the middle of driving them. So thank you all for your understanding. And, oh, you have the Thinlits, Tina. That's awesome. Very cool. It's raining in Arizona. You know, we had snow, like a lot more snow than I think they thought. It snowed all day. And then the next day it rained all day. And then it all froze. So it was like really crazy combination. And I feel for all of you out in the Washington State area and in, I'm not sure about Oregon necessarily. I know you guys have a ton of snow, and I don't think it's typically like that. So I'm just watching. You're sitting in the VA with your dad. Oh, Karen, tell him thank you for his service. That's a nice thing to do. You can watch me while you do that. Thank you. I will pass the words on to her. Her dad was a funny guy. He had such a good personality, and he was almost, I don't think I ever saw him not smiling. He really was a fun guy. Your next storm front's coming in now. Yeah, I think ours comes on Saturday, but I think here in Maryland, I should say on the kind of closer, we're like middle Maryland. We're west of the bay, and it's supposed to rain here, I think, most of the weekend, but out in Western Maryland, so kind of close to all you gals in Ohio, if you want to make a road trip to Oakland for the weekend. I think we're supposed to get some snow, so that's probably the closest I'm going to be, which is pretty neat. But anyway, so Donna, who is on here, Donna shared a really cool video with me from Gail. So I don't know what Gail's last name, but it is Stamp with Gail SU. So if you're looking for her on Facebook, she does a lot of videos. And she did a video the other day using an Aquapainter full of alcohol. So you see, I just have some rubbing alcohol just in case I run out. And this is expired, but you can still use it. It's not going to matter. This is real expired, 2008. And if you know me at all, you know all my friends will be laughing right now because lots of things in my house are expired. Oh my gosh, 9 inches of snow. That's crazy. Wow. So what you do is you fill your Aquapainter with alcohol. And you can use regular Whisper White. And what I'm actually going to do, because she did a couple cards on Very Vanilla, I'm going to bring out a Very Vanilla base too, just to try it. She did some really beautiful cards. So if you haven't seen it, you have to check out her Facebook page, which does have links to her videos. But she did a lot of cards, and I'm going to show you what she used. She kind of did like a Southwest theme, which were... Oh, her cards are amazing. So we'll definitely have to make one of these cards at the next class. But she used Flowering Desert a lot. She also used Waterfront because she did mountains in the background. And then she also used, and I don't think I have it here, the horse set, which is Let It Ride. And then she used whichever one has the wagon wheel in it. I can't think what the name of it is. But her cards, you guys have to go over and look at her cards. They were so amazing. Wow, I took screenshots while I was watching it. I mean, just gorgeous cards, Donna. So thank you for sharing. They were really, really, really pretty. And I thought, wow, that is such a cool technique. I never would have thought to do alcohol with the inks. But I guess at some point, you know, and a lot of other companies do have alcohol inks and all that other kind of stuff you can use. And I made a card. And so this is why I don't have the card to share with you, because I gave it to my other niece to give to her mom. Just she wrote a nice note in it for, you know, her grandfather that passed away. So she has my original card that I made, but I thought Beach Happy would be really neat. And the cool part about this stamp set is when you do your palm tree, you can curve these if you want because they're photopolymer. And then I was just kind of playing around and I thought, what if I do that background and then I do it with the palm trees in black? So that's what I ended up doing. So I'm going to do that card again. Only thing is I'm going to have to just try to remember which colors I used. I feel like I used Highland Heather, Balmy Blue, and I know someone who looked at the card said it needed a little bit of yellow. So just for you, I'm going to bring in a little bit of yellow. I think I'm going to use Daffodil Delight because it has a little more kick to it. If you did So Saffron, it would probably be just a little too light to actually blend. And then I feel like I used Petal Pink. So I think these were the 3 original. And then we're going to add in a little Daffodil Delight. And then the other thing that I did was I used a little bit of Crumb Cake because I did sand. And I just have to make sure that I grabbed, yeah, because I used this one, or I might have used the one that was the lighthouse. I can't remember. Well, anyway, we're going to just use these speckles for the sand. So we're going to make that card over again, but then we'll also make like something different as well, because I thought, just in case you don't have it, another couple cards you could do if you wanted to. You could even do like a colored background and then stamp the daisies. So like the color was filling in behind the daisies. You could stamp these in espresso or something. Another neat one I thought you could do is if you did a water scene, and you could either use the heron or the egret, depending on what you want to call it, and the lily pad, or you could do one with the sun and the boats. Would be really nice. The waterfront card that Gail did was amazing because it had these mountains in the background. So you have to check out her page. And then another one that will be fun is you could just do like a fun colored background, and then you could do Let the Good Times Roll and fill in your roller coaster. This would be really simple. And again, this is really cool because it's very simple stamping, because it's pretty much just ink and paper. That's it. I didn't really do anything fancy to it. You could always color it in and then again lay the bird over top or the flower. If you're really late on Valentine's Day and you have this stamp set, you could do the same thing and put like a couple of these critters in. But the other thing is too, that's neat, and I haven't done it this way, so that's why I was going to do it this way, is you could do, yeah, right, that's what I was just going to say, Donna. You can either do the backgrounds and then stamp on top of it, or you can stamp on top of it and then do the backgrounds with the alcohol ink, because it doesn't bleed what you've laid down. So I haven't done it the second way. So the only way I've done thus far is I've taken the inks and put them down and then stamped on top of it. So I'm going to do that again, and we're going to remake the card I made the other day, but then we'll also do one where we stamp stuff and then fill in the color, because you could do it both ways. So that's, it doesn't bleed the ink, which I haven't tried it yet, but it's going to be a pretty neat thing. Hopefully will turn out the way I'm expecting it to. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put the vanilla one on the side for now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to save that for something with this and see if I can recreate one of the cards that Gail made. So I'm going to focus first on the Beach Happy. And what we're going to do, so I'm going to do it with the 3 colors I started with, and then I'll add in the yellow after the fact, okay? So I did Highland Heather, and you can see this still has a lot of ink in it because my other niece made a card too, and she used different colors, and she did a crazy looking card, but still it was really, really, really sweet. So with these pads, if you have the new style pads, if you do, you press them in the middle and you'll create a pool in there. This one I added re-inker to, so it's really, really dark. So this is kind of a little too much. So really, unless you really, really are having a hard time squeezing, try not to add the re-inker right away, or maybe just add 1 drop. I think I got a little overzealous with that one there. So what I'm going to do is I have alcohol in here. So I'm going to just start. I'm going to put one of these on the side. I'm going to start the way I did it the other day. So what I did was I just squeezed some alcohol into this. So you can see it's dropping in there. And I'm going to try to keep this in this one corner. That way I don't pick up too much of the color. I'm just going to add a little bit more just to dilute it. And then you just kind of swipe it around. Now it does dry fast, so you're going to have to go back in and add more ink. It does slightly curl, but I haven't had any issues where if I didn't adhere it down with something, it didn't stick. So we'll put a little purple. Now you do need a towel because you want to make sure you clean off your ink between. So I just kind of squeeze this out onto my towels. And you guys know I got those. They're just shop towels from like whatever the auto store is around here. So I'm going to add some alcohol to the Petal Pink. Just like that. Now you'll see this is going to be way lighter. And I kind of just interspersed it. So what I was trying to do was to go for like a, ooh, whoopsie, hold on, like a beachy kind of sunset background. And I didn't really necessarily add in the water. really, I kind of just was blending just for general purposes. So again, I'm just going to wipe this off, and then I'm going to add a little ink to the Balmy Blue. Just spread this around a little bit. And I have closed these back up and put them back to be stored in my Stampin' Storage ink holder without emptying them. But if it bothers you, you could certainly just take a paper towel and wipe out the ink. But I don't really think it's going to affect the ink, depending, unless you're going to like put them sideways or something. So I'm going to stamp this, and I'm going to bring in just a little bit more blue so it kind of looks like the ocean. I got ink on my finger already. I got a little purple down here. Okay, so I'm going to do that for now. Again, I'm cleaning this off. So that was the 3 colors. So that was Balmy Blue, Petal Pink, and if you want one that's a little pinkier than this, I would go with the Powder Pink, because this is more of like a tannish pink. This is more of a bright pink. So if you wanted something that had a brighter pink, I would go with that color instead. And then I used Highland Heather. So then I'm going to add in, while I have it here, I'm going to do the Daffodil Delight. So if you have these old pads, the old style pads, you open them up and you just give them a squeeze either direction, and then it will create your pool. So I'm going to do the same thing, just add a little alcohol to this. And I want to see what this looks like. Okay, so that's a little bit darker than I thought it would be, but that's okay. We'll work around it. So we'll just add like a couple streaks in there. And I'm not squeezing this while I'm applying it. So I'm not squeezing as I'm putting the ink on. I'm just making the puddle with the alcohol. There we go. And then brushing it on. All right, so for the last one, I did Crumb Cake. Just clean off this yellow. And you could really add a little yellow in with the sand, because, you know, sand is different colors. You don't have to have tan sand. You could have pink sand. Any of you have been to beaches where they have different color sands? I've been to Hawaii and many of the islands in the Bahamas, and they all have different colored sands. I think the coolest one, though, was Hawaii, where it was black sand. That was really beautiful against the ocean and the trees around there. So just a little bit of Crumb Cake. This is going to kind of be for my beach. You can make your sandbar come out if you want, like a little bit of sand washing under the ocean there. Okay, so there's pretty much the background. So when I was finished with it, I was kind of like, it doesn't really look as good as I thought it did, but I guess it's okay. But once I stamped the stuff on top of it is really when it gave it a completely different look. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same exact thing as I did the other day. So I'm going to put my palm tree base on, and I'm going to angle it just a little bit, just like that. And then I have the top of the palm tree, same thing. And I'm trying to remember if I did this with Memento or if I did it with Stays On, because one of them was definitely a nicer image. So we'll see. We'll test this out. We'll do the other one on the other side. All right, so that's my palm base. So I'm going to just kind of stamp these here. Just being careful not to press, as I made a little mess there. But again, you can just wipe this off with a towel. You could use a skinnier block too. So I just stamped 3 of these. I'll put this one down lower again. Okay, so this has some other little pieces that could probably be used. I'm sure some of them are not what I've made them into be, but it has, excuse me, some, like this is a little, almost like a shade spot. This kind of looks a little bit like a flower, but what I did with these was I just picked the smaller one up. You could certainly use this one as well, which is, where is it down here? It's kind of like a mound of sand, and I just kind of stamped these around in black. Same thing again, just kind of like something that had fallen. Put one more over here. There we go. So there's that. And then all we have to do now is just add the tops. Now when I did add the tops of these, excuse me, I started stamping from the left to the right. That way if I overlap something, it was overlapping that way, because I was afraid if I went from the right to the left, something would overlap odd, if that makes sense. So if you're going to stamp before the background, you don't, yeah, because StazOn, that's what I thought, because StazOn is alcohol based. So you would want to use Memento. So we'll stick with Memento then. Thanks for sharing that, Donna. I thought that's the way it was. And if you are concerned, only because this is a bigger stamp, I'm actually going to put my paper piercing mat underneath. So I'm going to stamp this. I kind of, the first time, this is a funny thing too, the first time I did this, and this is why those little pieces all kind of come in handy, I stamped this and there was like a big gap between the tree base and the actual palm trees. So I just used this little piece to fill it in. So I'm going to stamp it off and then I'll show you guys. That way I fixed it, because I thought, well, man, look at that. I just messed that up and I wasn't even trying. So I kind of stamped it up like this. I'll show you. And the way these are laying, it kind of gives a little bit more depth to it. So if you can see here, there's a little gap. So I just took this little piece again, and you could use the other one. The other one looks slightly more like a leaf, but I just filled this in just like that. So just added that extra piece in, so you can't even tell that you messed it up unless you're doing it in front of people. And then the last one, just like that. Perfect. So that was nice and easy. So let me wipe this off, and then we'll go on to the second card. And then what I'm going to do is I'll mount these all at the end, because I may actually end up trimming them. But so there's that. All you have to do is you could add, you don't have to add a sentiment, but you could add a sentiment. But you can see there's enough there that it kind of gives you that sky look. The only other thing I'm going to add in, and actually you could use these little dots if you have the Flowering Desert, in case you don't have the waterfront stamp set, which if you don't have it, you need to get it. This is, if you've ever looked on Pinterest, this is one of the coolest stamp sets. You can make so many cards with the waterfront stamp set. So if you don't have it, really, that's one that you need to invest in getting. So then I'm going to just open my crumb cake, and I'm going to just stamp a little bit of just these kind of speckles. You know what I did? I'm trying to think if I did or didn't do this. And I think I did. Hold on one second. I want to grab, just because I want to try to trim this out. Where is that palm tree? Because I think this will be neat. Oh, geez, it's still right here. Hold on. So I'm going to stamp this just in a color. Where is my Post-it? Oh, that's too big. Okay, I'm going to stamp this. I just want to show you a trick in case you wanted to do this with the whole depth thing. So it doesn't really have to be exact or neat. So you could do this if you have masking paper or a Post-it note, which of course mine, I didn't stamp it on the sticky part, but Blondie Rains. If you have Post-it tape, this would work. But I'm just kind of, just slightly, it doesn't really matter at the top because I'm not doing it for that. I'm just doing it for the base. But I'm going to put this. So you could also do this ahead of time if you think of it. So I just trimmed out that little tree, and I'm going to do like a little bit down here at the base. And I'm going to lay this here. Let's see if I got that slightly correct. That's a stretch only because of the way I cut my paper, but and again, if you do this ahead of time, you don't have to worry about this. So I'm going to just take my crumb cake and stamp. Let's see if I can hold this down. Okay, and then I'm going to move this over a little bit. Again, it's really only just so that it doesn't go on top of it as much. Go like that. But the cool part, if you've never done this before, if you do masking, it really does help to add to the depth of something, believe it or not, with the way you stamp your stuff. So now you can see there's not any, so it kind of looks like this is in the front of the sand. So just a simple thing. I mean, you don't have to do that. You could knit it if you wanted to. But so there's number one. So on the second one, we'll do this backwards. So what we'll do for this is we're going to go ahead and stamp. Let me get my clean one. We're going to stamp our image first. So we will do the same thing. I'm going to do Memento for the base, but I'm going to change this around Just a little bit, just so it's a slightly different looking card. So what we'll do for this is I'm going to put this one straight up. Okay, so just straighten out the stamp. The photopolymer stamps you could move around, which is nice. So I'm going to put straight up card, a straight up palm here. Let's see, let me make sure I didn't put that too high because that would be my luck. Put it like that. Okay, so that's pretty good, but you can see there still is that little teeny gap there. So I'm going to go in and just add this little frond again, just to cover that up. So that's good enough. And then what I'm going to do is I want to add this chair just for something different. So I'm going to add the chair and the, we'll do this one different. So we'll kind of do like the beach. So it'll be like sky, and we'll do the beach here and the ocean. We'll see if I can get it to work out the way I have it pictured in my head. So we're going to do the same thing with this one. Now, if you have a stamp that's a little bit bigger or you're worried about it, instead of stamping on, I actually put the block down, put the stamp on it, and then put the ink to it. So like that. And then the great part about the photopolymers, you can see right where you're doing it. So we'll put this right here. Okay, that turned out well. And I don't want to overdo it. So I'm not going to fill in any stripes. I'm just going to leave the chair kind of plain like it is. You could add the bag if you wanted to. You could sit the hat there or whatever. But I'm going to just leave it just like that. Okay, so I'm just going to give this a second just to make sure it's dry. So I'm going to wipe these other stamps off in the meantime. Because after this, I'm going to see if I can do one of the cards that Gail did, just so you guys can see it. But again, you really do have to head over there. She did some really cool images. And then the other part was a lot of the stuff that she stamped with, she stamped with regular ink. And then when you add the alcohol ink, I don't know how it works, but it worked out that it was like really, it was really, really cool. So let me put these over here, so they're out of the way for a moment. Hopefully they won't topple over. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back in again. We're going to do the sand part first. So this still has a little alcohol, but I'm just going to add a little bit more to it. Okay, so we're going to just bring in the sand. And it kind of works towards this. If you notice that it has a lot of white space, especially when you do the sky part, it really gives the look of like clouds and that white space that you have in things. So it doesn't need to be completely covered. That's kind of one of the goals of it. So I'm going to just clean this off. All right, and then I'm going to bring in, do the balmy blue for the water. So I'm just, this kind of does dry because the alcohol obviously does evaporate. So you do have to re-wet it. And I want to just shape this a little bit. Okay, so you could also, if you wanted to, you could add like some stamped images. If you wanted to bring in some actual like water feel, you could do something like that. We have a lot of stamp sets that do have a watery element to them that you could add something to it. So what I'm going to do for this one is I'm going to change out of the petal pink and I'm going to do the powder pink instead. But I'm still going to stick with the Highland Heather as the sky color. So I'm just cleaning this off. Again, that's the most important thing. Just make sure you clean it off in between. And I'm going to do this. So I'm going to kind of try to do this in the background because I'm going to fill this in a little bit. And you see the black hides, so the black overtakes the color in the background. Get right in there a little bit. But the cool part is with your Aquapainter, you can really get like in the little nooky places that you wanted to. There you go. Okay, so I'm going to do a little purple. Close that one up. So anyway, that was powder pink. You can definitely tell between these two, this is way more pink. And this is a little bit more muted when you use that, what was that, petal pink. So I have my Highland Heather again. I'm going to add more alcohol to it just because I want to dilute it. a little bit more. There we go. And just going to bring in like little sporadic pieces of this. But it's kind of funny, like with watching Gail do this and Donna sharing the card, which was really very nice. So thank you again for sharing that. It's funny that like when you play around with things and you think to yourself like, oh, you can't do that with that. That'll completely ruin it. But it's not. It's not doing anything to it. It's just a whole different medium. And actually, I'm going to add a little bit more of the crumb cake down here because I'm kind of think I did my horizon a little bit low. But it just kind of takes somebody fooling around with it to see whether or not you do or don't like it. And like something, just put a little sand in there, completely different. But nothing is bleeding. So if you can see that, nothing's bleeding. It's all the black is definitely still intact. We have that. And then I'm just going to clean this out again. And I think since I went with that brighter yellow, I'm going to give it a shot with going with the So Saffron and see how that looks for adding this sky. Just a little bit of yellow to it. So I'm just going to add some alcohol to that. And speaking of my niece, when she made her card, it's funny, she always picks strawberry slush. If you guys remember strawberry slush, she's always picking that. She always used to pick Coastal Cabana too, because that was like one of her favorites, which now is back. So now we just need to get strawberry slush back too. I know there's lots of colors that everybody was like, was their favorite color. Beautiful sky though, really, really pretty. So then what we're going to do, and I'm going to just do this opposite, even though I said I wasn't going to, but I'm going to do it anyway, is, let me grab this. I'm going to fill in the umbrella and the stripes, just for the heck of it, since we're here. So I'm going to do the stripes on the chair. And as a matter of fact, since I was talking about it, I'm going to do them in Coastal Cabana. I know, right? You need the, I love the beach set. That was like one of my first things that I thought, because I love the beach. I was like, oh, I have to get that. So you can just kind of line this up. I'll make sure. Sorry if I'm going to try not to get my head in the way. See, that looks about right. Hopefully. That's actually pretty good considering I was stamping and trying to keep my head out of the camera. All right, so that was Coastal Cabana. And then for the umbrella, I'm going to do something lighter. So it's kind of very washed. As a matter of fact, you know what I think I'm going to do? I'm going to stick with the So Saffron just because it's pretty light. Like a very soft color. No, this is not watercolor paper, Sandra. It's just regular old Whisper White. I'll line this up. So this just looks like this person has been to the beach many, many times with this umbrella. There you go. That looks good. And this is one of the times with the umbrella where if you wanted to, you could kind of lift it up ahead of time so you had the splotches in it so it looked like it was old. But there you go. Only other thing I still want to add, I got to pull this out of here. I knew I shouldn't have done this, as I do want to add some bits to the sand with the crumb cake just to give it a little bit of depth. And with the alcohol, it does make it very soft. What did I do with that little piece of palm tree? Here it is. It makes it soft, and then when you re-stamp with your other stuff that you're going to add on, I know this one isn't straight, so we're just going to kind of make it straight for now. This is going to be full strength, so you can get more of an effect without actually having to pick a different ink color. Let's see if I can go around for that one a little bit. There you go. So there's that one. So that's number 2. So let me put all of these away, and I'm going to show you, we're going to do one more card, and we're going to do a card similar to what Gail did with the more of a southwest look, because she really did a great job for that. Let me put all of these in here so I can get them out of the way. It should only take a second or so. This one was from something else. I like this set though because it has a lot of possibilities, and also the other thing I really liked it for, I like the sentiments. The relax, you deserve it. I thought that was a really nice sentiment to have for so many reasons. All right, and I like also that the photopolymer, you can kind of make your palm trees if you want them straight or if you want them to look like, if you guys have ever been to a lot of those Bahamas or Caribbean islands, a lot of the palm trees are bent just from the wind or the way they've grown. So that's really neat part about that. So let me grab, what did I have over here? Waterfront and Flowering Desert. And now I'm going to tell you straight off, because when I open this, you guys are going to be like, what the heck did you do? My, one of my waterfront stamps is really, really badly stained because I used brush coat on it. It doesn't affect it. It just looks horrible. So I'll show you that. This one, oof, looks super bad, but it still stamps just fine. But if you do use, I did a card, I think when the brush coat first came out and the stamp set first came out as well, but I did a stamped, just as a digression here, what I did was I sprinkled it on and wet it and then stamped it. So it does work, but it definitely stains. So just keep that in mind. So we have these two, and then we're going to do our last one. This one's going to be on Very Vanilla. Let's see. So we'll go on that one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do what she did. Again, I'm going to stamp the stuff in the background with ink colors, not with black, and then we'll add the watercoloring color to it. So she did mountains. And I am going to, before I start using this, I'm just going to make sure this is clean as I think it is. Let me scoot this over for a second. And even though these chamois look absolutely disgusting, they still clean really well. You can run them through the washing machine. You could just rinse them out with like some mild detergent in the sink. And then you don't really need to let them air dry. Just rinse them out. They're never going to be unstained. As you can see, this one is really bad. But they do still clean really, really well. And if you clean them after you wipe off, you'll notice that color does run out of them. So we're going to use this. And I'm going to use the cactus. And the other thing too, just in case this ever happens, if you ever have that your photopolymer stamp isn't as sticky, you just need to clean it off a little bit. It does pick up its sticky again once it's clean. But if you ever notice that, say you put this on, it's just not staying as well, just go and rinse it in the sink with just like a little bit of dish detergent. Just clean the side of it off, rinse it off really well, and it'll be just as good as new and just as sticky as ever. If for any reason it's not, please contact either myself if I'm your demonstrator, or contact your demonstrator, or if you are a demonstrator, contact Stampin' Up, because they will take care of it. I've had a couple that, believe it or not, were kind of old, and they weren't like old that they were retired, but sure enough, they replaced it for me. So they really have a wonderful guarantee with their stamps. Let's see what else she did. I think she did a couple of the cactus. So put this on. I just want to get these ready. That way, once we get started, it won't take me too long. You guys won't fall asleep waiting for me to finish what I'm doing. I'm going to put the little flower here. She also used, this on one of them was really cool. She used these little prickles. I guess, I don't even know what they are. Spikes, I'm guessing. Needles. So there's that. Let's see, is there anything else I wanted to add from this? I have the speckles and the sun. We'll do the sun because that looked really neat. All right, so see if I have one more tiny block. Oh, here's one. That's good enough. Okay. All right, so what we're going to do, just to figure out kind of our depth, is I'm going to stamp the mountains in the background first, and I'm going to do these in soft suede, I think. You probably could do them in crumb cake if you wanted to, but I'm going to do them in soft suede. And what I'm going to do is, let me stamp this off first. I'm going to see what this looks like. Yeah, so I'm going to stamp it once in full ink, and then I'll stamp it off. Let me just make sure this is centered. Okay. Okay, so there, got that. And we will do the sun. I'm going to do the sun in crushed curry. And now I'm gonna put the cactus first, and then we'll build the smaller cactus. I'm gonna do this one in garden green, and then we can add in the smaller cacti as well. My garden green is in desperate need of re-inking, so it's probably not what it's supposed to look like. Put this here. Yeah, that could definitely be a little darker. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go over it with Mossy Meadow. So, since you can see these, that's the cool part, is we should be able to line it up pretty well. We'll see. Okay. Pardon me. I'm sorry if my head's in the way. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. It's got a little bit of a shadow, but that's okay. We'll work with it. So I need to pull this out so I remember to re-ink it because that's really, really, really bad. I must use garden green a lot and just not realize it. Okay, so then I'm going to do Old Olive, and we're going to just do some random cactus. Good Lord. Hold on. All right. Which one is this? Old Olive. Let me re-ink this real quick. This is always a good tip for people, just in case you've never seen it. When you re-ink onto these pads that have the foam, sometimes the ink sits on the top. If they're particularly dry, it does get sucked up pretty quickly, which this one is definitely absorbing faster because it's not quite like this one over here is definitely not a puddle. But if you get these like this, all you do is you take a little plastic spoon and you just push the ink into the stamp pad. Just like that. I use the same spoon for pretty much every single color I have, probably except for white. And then I just take my spoon and I wipe it off just like that, and I put it back in my little tool caddy over here. All right, so let's give that a shot again because that's a pretty light cactus. Let's see. This one has a little bit of a white spot on it. There we go. And I'm going to add in a couple of these smaller ones. Put one over here for him. Oh, that's good. I don't want to overdo it. Now, where's my littler one? Nope. Hold on. I got one more I need to get out, and I forgot. My tiny. There's a little round one that you can use, and there's also like a really, really tiny cactus piece you could use. So I'm going to just put this on the back. Put this here. Here. I can mostly see this. I'm going to pull this one off for now. I'm going to put the little one on. Okay, so like that. And then I'm going to grab my, where is Calypso Coral? Got my Calypso Coral. I'm going to put the little flower, which this could actually be, I think this is another cactus. And the flower is, yeah, I picked the wrong one. So the cactus, you can actually, there's a lot that you can build with the cactus. You could probably use that, but I'm going to actually use the flower. So we'll put a flower. There. Okay. And then the last thing I'm going to add in is, what did I do with it? Here it is. I have, take this one off. This little, kind of looks to me like aloe vera. But it's probably like, what is that? An agave cactus. So I'm going to do this one in shaded spruce, just so it's darker. So put this here. One of those. And also, I know you guys probably see me stamping on this mat down here. That's fine. All you have to do is wipe this off with like a baby wipe, and it completely comes clean. However, if you heat emboss on it like I did with something here, it does get a little warpy. It doesn't affect it, but it gets a little bumpy. So just keep that in mind. All right, so I think that's it for that. And what I'm going to do is, let me put all these on top of this, so I remember. And let me move this out of the way so I don't ruin these two cards. I'm going to keep this out just in case we want to put some sand on it. And let me move all these over here. Move this. So we definitely used a lot of color on this card in general. Soft suede. I have my crumb cake still out in case we want to add something to that. I have to re-ink my garden green, so I got that one over there too. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to add in a little bit of color. So what you could do, same thing with the sky, is you could do the Bashful Blue. So we'll just add in a little bit of Bashful Blue. So again, just add in, make sure your brush is clean, add a little alcohol. I don't think my brush was as clean as I thought it was, so. Just, if you contaminate, like if you add a color to the tray by accident, just wipe it all out with a paper towel. Everything will be fine. And then we're going to just add some blue. Yeah, I have like a little bit of green from the yellow in here. Blue to the sky. Okay, and I'm going to add in, just because it's desert, I'm going to still add back in a little bit of purple. So a little Highland Heather. Okay, and now I'm going to add in some sand. So I'm going to stick with the same thing, just with the crumb cake. I just squeezed it again just to add a little more ink to it. So I'm going to add a little bit more alcohol and just go over this. And then, like I said, if you wanted to, you could also cut out a mask of your cactus, this big cactus specifically, if you felt like you wanted to. And I'm going to add in just a little bit of dark over here. So you kind of have like the shadow of the sun back there. Okay, so, and then I'm going to put this here. Let me wipe this off. And just add in, so if you wanted to, you could mask off these guys, but, or you could do it ahead of time, but this is kind of just to show you that even though you stamp this, whichever way you stamp it, it still won't ruin your image. All right, so there's that. So again, this one we did on vanilla, and I think that really lends a lot to the background of this specific stamp. Let me put this over here. So now all we're going to do is we're going to take these three. Let me move this over. So we have 3 different cards here. And we're going to mount these onto a layer. What's that? That's the dead Post-it. I'm going to mount these onto a layer of color and then mount them onto a card base. So I think I'm going to do coral and then a piece of the balmy blue. And we can put a sentiment on these as well. Same for this one. I think I'm going to do this onto balmy blue and then maybe crumb cake. And this one I'm not 100% decided yet. So let's see. Grab my balmy blue. I have a little piece here. I think I said I was going to do that on that. That's a little too big. We're going to have to trim this one down a little bit. This one I said coral and balmy blue. So I'll do this as the back layer is balmy blue. So the base will be balmy blue. And that's pink. That is not coral. And that's pumpkin. Man. My colors are not working today. So we'll do, let's see, just coral. And this one, I'm going to do one with heather. So I'm going to do a heather. And we'll put that onto crumb cake as the base. Let's see if I have a piece here. Nope. Okay, so we'll just cut a piece for that. And really though, I mean, for the most part, depending on what it is you do, if you have like your idea of what you want to do, it really don't take that long to make. Let me just grab my trimmer. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to trim these cards up just a little bit. So I want to make sure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut them down to 5 inches by 3 3/4. So we'll just take off a little bit of this. And 4, we'll do 3 3/4. I'm going to kind of take a little from the top and a little from the bottom since I don't want to cut the chair off really. So that's 5 by 3 3/4. This one, let's see, 5. It's probably okay up here. And then the last one, this one I have to take a decision. Which one do I want to cut off? I'm going to do this way. So 5. And I'm going to have to take a little off the top and a little off the bottom on this one. Okay, so I have that. So then all I have to do is I have my base. This one's already scored, so that's good. That one was for this, I think. So this needs to be 5 1/4. Hopefully it's big enough by 4. Yep, so there's that one. And same thing again, 5 1/4. I think these look really neat though with the different layers. Oh, it was not that. What was this? With the different layers of color, it really makes it pop a lot. And this one, I think I said I wanted to do. Did I not get enough bases out? I don't think I did. Let me do this 4 1/4. Actually, I'm going to score this first. That way they'll both be scored. So 5 1/2, and then I'm just going to cut this at 4 1/4. It's going to be for that. Now, you know what? I was going to do this. So that is 4, 5 1/4. Trim this down to 4. All right, so that'll be for that. So that. And I forgot one for this one. Let's see what I have. Purple will be like that. Yeah, that's a little too purpley. Let's see. You could even do it on Thick Whisper White. How about that? We'll do one on Thick Whisper White. If I can find it. There we go. I think this is a regular base. All right, so let me just score this. Make sure it's trimmed to 4 1/4. All right, so now all we're gonna do is put these together, and you can add sentiments, you can wait, you know, just kind of depends. A lot of times I know a lot of people will wait, that way they have a card, you know, sentiment to be able to use if they need to like get a card ready for somebody real quick, so they won't put a greeting on, which is fine. So I'm gonna put this. And then one thing I would recommend you do, only because it's just a slight bit wavy, is either use really strong adhesive, so use Fast Fuse if you have it, or use Tombow liquid glue. You could also add, if you wanted to, you could always put like a little bit of Wink of Stella on the desert or on the sun. All right, so this one's gonna go onto coral. And I try just to make sure that before I actually press it, I just kind of line it up. Make sure it looks okay. And then same thing. Oops. And if you make sure when you do your stuff that you put your tape pretty close to the edges, it does tend to hold it really nicely for you. So there's that one. Let's make sure that this just looks like a picture to me. I mean, it looks like a painting, which is really pretty. So I'm gonna do the same thing. Put this one on the balmy blue. This wasn't bad. It's 10:25. We're almost done, and we actually made 3 cards. And we used a lot of different stuff, too, so that's really a miracle in itself. Oh, come on, Fast Fuse. Don't fail me now. All right, I'm going to put this onto the white. And just be careful if you've done all this work and you use your white. Make sure your desk is nice and clean before you mess up your white. But that's Thick Whisper White, so this is really sturdy. So there's that. And then I'll put these up here. The last 2. And once I get back this afternoon, because we have to go drop off our fish, our friends are going to fish sit, and now we also have a snail for us, I will post all the instructions and everything for this card onto my blog. If you have any questions before that, all you have to do is send me an email at rachthestamper@gmail.com. And you can also leave me a message on Facebook. If you'd like to get any of these supplies to make these cards, you can shop my online store 24/7 at rachthestamper.stampinup.net. Ooh, that looks really pretty with the blue. And if you do have an order that's less than $150, I would really appreciate it if you use this hostess code. It is how I get my little freebies that I send out. If you do order $50 worth of product for me, first of all, you'll always get a free PDF. If you get $50 worth of product, that's all before tax, you will qualify for a free celebration item. And I will also send you a little thank you gift with a card in the mail. But these were so fun. Again, Donna, thank you so much for sharing these. I said Bashful Blue. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I think everybody, that's probably another color that people would love to have come back, but I never had any experience with Bashful Blue, believe it or not. But these are gorgeous, so thank you to Donna for sharing Gail's video. Again, if you guys are, since you're all on Facebook, if you go to Stamp with Gail, and then she has SU, if you look her up, she has some amazing projects and products, and she did 3 other cards with this Flowering Desert stamp set that is going to make you want to buy this if you don't have it already. And the same with the beach. I think it turned out really good. So thank you guys very, very much for coming on a day late. I appreciate it. I will be back, hopefully, unless we have another major snowstorm, next Wednesday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's my regularly scheduled day. I hope you all have a wonderful week and a wonderful weekend, and that you get to see some sunshine. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day.